Louise. I'm one of the regional coordinators for Time to Change. There are 8 of us all across the country. Has anyone heard of Time to Change before? Yeah, I'm getting a few hands. Anyone tell me what you know about it already? Anyone want to say? I'm not going to be able to hear you really then, yeah? Yeah, absolutely, that's right. So, yeah, this is what we're here to do and here to talk to you about today. This is Sam, one of our young champions who you will hear from later. You heard Pookie speak earlier. Mary George is one of our young champions who has spoken at quite a few events, and Sam is going to tell you her story a little bit later on. So as most of you know, we are Time to Change. We're a growing movement, and we want to change the way people think and act about mental health problems. And we want to make it easier for people to open up about mental health. Do you guys feel like you're able to, or that your students are able to open up really, or not much? I can't see it, and I can't. Are you going to do mics? Okay.
Put your hands up, I'll bring a microphone too. Show, I'll stand
No.
Hi there. We're still hearing from young people in Cornwall in our schools.
Try that again. We're still hearing from our young people in Cornwall that they're finding it really difficult to talk about these issues in schools, and there's still a lot of stigma attached to looking for and getting support.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why we think it's really important to try and challenge that stigma, try and challenge the way people think and feel about mental health problems, and just try and get people to open up a bit more. As people have said earlier, that it's okay not to be okay all of the time. As we're funded by the Department of Health, Comic Relief and the Big Lottery, and the campaign is run by Mind and We Think Mental Illness. You may know that already. Just a quick question, I guess, show of hands. How many young people will experience a mental health problem in any 1 year? 1 in 10, 1 in 50, 1 in 100. Should we go show of hands for A, 1 in 10? Yeah, you all know. 1 in 50, 1 in 100. Yeah, it is. It's 1 in 10 young people. Anyone know how many adults it is? Yeah, 1 in 4. Any thoughts about that? Going from 1 in 10 to then 1 in 4 adults? Yeah, no, it's not, and it's. I think it's that stigma again around can't talk about it. No, we're fine, stiff upper lip, do all of that, don't talk, it's fine. Next question on the quiz. 2 biggest causes of death of males between 14 and 25. Okay, you know this stuff. Yeah, road traffic accidents first, suicide second. Is that kind of expected? Does it shock you? Any comments? I'm getting nods. Is that shock expected? Gentleman down here.
There's a debate about road traffic accident being a form of self-harm.
Okay.
There's an issue about that, and I think it's not surprising to me. There's a gender issue there as well. Women or ladies try to adapt to the self-harm, while men try to go for a road traffic accident and suicide.
Okay.
And they're usually twice as much as women in terms of suicide.
Yeah. And I think some years it swaps as well with suicide being first and then road traffic accident second. But yeah, that's an interesting point that it debates about whether it's a form of self-harm or not. I haven't heard that before, but interesting point. And the third one, what percentage of killings that take place each year are committed by people with mental health problems? Show of hands. A, show of hands. B, and C. Okay. So it's A, only 5%. It's been shown that people with mental health problems are more likely to harm themselves than other people. So despite what you might hear in the media, those difficult kind of headlines that we've seen, it is 5% of killings that take place each year and by these mental health problems, whereas a lot of people think it's more. So, sorry by the way, I've got a bit of a cough, so that's why I'm sounding like this. Why we exist, the attitudes of others stop people getting the help and support they need. It's all about kind of the stigma that we were talking about. People don't want to talk about it. It's scary. People don't know how or where to get the help. And we want young people to know that they can talk to you guys, the staff that they've got around them. And it's been shown that too many people with mental health problems are made to feel isolated, alone. All of the horrible things that you yourself might have experienced. As Pinky said earlier, I also, as part of being a regional coordinator, part of the job description for me was that I've also had lived experience, and I can definitely relate to those feelings. We want everyone to be able to talk about their mental health problem, or not even, if it might not even be diagnosed, but I'm struggling at the moment. That hippo time that was spoken about earlier, yeah, it's there, it's around. We want people to be able to talk about it, and we believe that the younger generation now, we can have that difference on them to be able to say, yeah, do you know what, I'm not okay all of the time, and that's okay. And the more that young people talk amongst their peers, things like that, then we want and hope that can make a difference. Some of the facts and figures that you can see up there, maybe it's a bit small, sorry, but young people report that they've experienced stigma from friends, parents, boyfriends, and 43% from teachers. Again, any kind of thoughts, feelings about that from anyone? The percentage of stigmas or anything? Anyone?
I work at the University of Wolverhampton, and we have students, we encourage them to disclose issues so that they can actually be supported.
Yeah.
So many of them are afraid if it gets to their actual lecturers that it will influence the way that the lecturers mark their work. So they're afraid to actually disclose mental health issues because they think it's going to impact on their degree.
Yeah, and what kind of things might you say to them with that? How does that kind of go when that happens?
Well, we try and reassure them that it won't, that it's the people that we don't see that have already made that assumption, so they don't actually come in contact with the support services at all, because they've already made that assumption that they don't want to tell in case it labels them. Yeah, and I think that's a classic example of the stigma that's faced between, peers around that area, and that sounds really difficult, but like you said, all you can do is try as much as you can to go, no, it won't affect, but yeah, those people are already having that influence, like you said, the people that don't
come and see you. So it is about being around and getting that message around to the peers as well. And
Coming to Mike, but I better wait.
yeah.
I just wanted to follow on. I looked at how we just last spoke, actually, because I actually work with the university as a carer and service user. We've got a group called Success, which stands for Carers and Service Users Working in Education, and we work right across the health and wellbeing faculty. And I've worked there for 5 years, and one of the great things about this time to change that I've done, I talk about my own mental health, I'm quite loud and proud. I've got colleagues in the room that know me. I'm always talking about my mental health, and I wear a bright orange t-shirt, everybody can see it. And because I used to be one of the directors of the biggest service user group in Wolverhampton called Hear Our Voice. So I wear it all the time, loud and proud, and this is what gets people talking about it. They approach me when we've had events in Wolverhampton. I've had people approach me before I've even got to the event and talk to me about it. When it comes to the university though, you'll get somebody open up after I've done my talk, and you'll get their colleagues or their friends in the room look and think, well, I didn't know she got a mental health problem, or he got a mental health problem, or even myself, because people see me happy, go lucky, you know, there's all, we put on that front for service users, you know. But it is about talking about it is important, and what the best person for me in the house today was that doctor, opening up to say and talking about her own mental health illness and how she goes through it and lives on it from day to day. Because that's important, because I'm sure there's probably people in this room that, you know, are sufferers and will not open up about it. So that's the biggest thing. If they take that away today is talking about their own mental health. And us treating it as well as physical health, because physical health and mental health go hand in hand, and that's what needs to get out there to the clinicians.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and I guess people agree with you, mental health is just as important, if not more important than physical health, I think. And the statistic on here that always gets me from the survey that we did in 2013 is that 28% of 541 young people surveyed said that it wasn't the actual mental health problem that was the worst. 28% that the negative reactions from others, it was that made them want to give up on life. So the negative, the stigma, the discrimination they might have faced from others, that was the bit that made them want to give up on life rather than the actual condition itself, and that's the figure that probably shocked me the most out of all of those. This is just a slide about our growing movement. You'll see the slide at the end. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. We do work with young people and with employers. And so my job as a regional coordinator is to do talks like this, go into schools, speak in assemblies, speak with the young people, and also engage with our young champions in our region, in the West Midlands region. But as I said, there are 7 others of us that are around the country, and they work with the other young champions in the country. There are currently 80 of them, and there is work with employers as well. There's links at the end. And now you've heard enough of me, and as Pookie said earlier, one of the main things that will hopefully help you is to hear about lived experience from Sam over here. So she's going to tell you her story.
Hi everyone, my name is Sam Baraka. Many people know me as the girl who laughs, smiles and jokes, but not many people know me as the person with a mental health condition. And the reason for that is there is no way of telling if someone has a mental health condition. In 2014, I started noticing that I was struggling. Lack of motivation, no energy to do things, low moods, also known as depression. The issue is, depression isn't like a broken leg. You can't tell just by looking at someone whether or not they have depression. And it was for that very reason that mine went unnoticed by people around me. With there being massive stigma surrounding depression, I never told anyone. Some people think that depression is just a bad day, when actually it is a long-term condition. Many just brush it off as being a bad day. They just don't seem to understand what it really is. When I had issues of motivation, it was made to look like I was just being lazy. Low moods hidden by smiles. Just because somebody smiles and laughs doesn't mean they are happy. Many people tell those who are suffering from depression, you just need to get out more. You just need to do some exercise. You don't look depressed. Here's the issue. I'm somebody who spends more time out and about than indoors. I've always been an active cyclist. I've done 50-mile cycles and even a 200-mile cycle. I laugh more than most people I know. But these don't invalidate my depression. These just show how misconstrued depression is. Depression is more than just sadness. For me, it's having no feelings at all. It's overthinking or not being able to think at all. Memory is also affected. Where I used to remember what I did last month, now last week feels like a year ago. I end up forgetting where I need to go, what I'm doing, and what I need to do. Depression can also make you feel very tired. It can make me wake up tired, despite having had a good night's sleep. The tiredness stays all day. It's not the kind of tiredness that is resolved by sleeping. Sleeping can even make it worse. It hugely affects my motivation. Where I used to do things just for the fun of it, I now struggle to do things when I urgently need to do them. This can cause many issues of education and employment, as it did with me. It makes enjoyment a feeling of the past. Where I used to enjoy the smallest of things, I now don't enjoy the big things. It hugely affects your diet. I go through phases where I either heavily overeat or hardly eat anything. Even when you take a break from anything, whether it's going out with friends, going on holiday, or doing your most favourite thing, you can still feel like rubbish. Due to the stigma of mental health, these emotions aren't always acknowledged by those around you. Instead of helping, some people have the get over it attitude. Mental illness isn't something you can simply get over. Due to having motivational issues at school, my attendance in school dropped. Punctuality for me was a major issue. Instead of giving a space to talk, teachers would just question why I was late, in a way that portrayed me as lazy and not caring. This made it hard to truly open up about what was going on, and that it was more than just laziness. It also made my attendance and punctuality worse, rather than better. One teacher even just said to try harder when I did try to open up about having problems of concentration and motivation. There was never a time I truly felt that I could open up about how I was feeling. With ongoing issues with other students in school, including many mimicking and teasing, I didn't feel like there was anybody to open up to. Many in school would decide not to call me by my name and would deliberately mispronounce it. They would copy my every move within class and would unnecessarily get me in trouble with teachers. If people weren't being rude, they would stand beside their friends who were being rude, but do nothing about it. Due to issues at home, I didn't feel like I could open up to my family about the issues I was having, and feared to open up to teachers due to them being obliged to inform parents. Due to coming from an Asian family, there was a lot of stigma and misunderstanding around mental health, including many who think depression is just sadness or moodiness, when in fact it's a mental illness that can last months, if not years. Because I was struggling with low moods and lack of motivation, I decided to get counselling through an online charity. I had counselling for half a year, which had to come to an end. Although I would definitely say that it was helpful to clear my thoughts and have a better understanding of my own mental health, it didn't change how I was feeling. A few months after counselling ended, I had my first experience of being suicidal. Despite this being a few years ago, I still remember it like it was yesterday. The issue with being suicidal is that it's something that people can struggle to fully understand unless they've been through it themselves. It's the feeling of not wishing to be alive so much that you're actually wanting to take your own life. On another occasion when I was suicidal again, somebody from my school reached out to me. Having been suicidal the night before, I was in a very low place when I came to school. I had asked everyone in my class to give me some space, which thankfully they did. A few hours later, someone came up to me and asked if I was okay. This showed that, even though we weren't friends, she cared. She listened to me and gave me her time. This helped as it showed that there are people out there who will spend the time to listen to you and be in your corner. To stop me getting to this low of a place, having time to myself would have helped. Self-care is different for everybody. I find talking to friends, going on long walks at night, listening to music and watching TV helps my mental health. These give me time to clear my thoughts and distract me from everything that's going on in my life. Due to all the issues that were going on in my life on these occasions, I was unable to do things. Where I am on my journey to recovery, I'm not sure. One thing I know for sure is that I'm further along than I was this time last year, and things are going up. Through my lived experience with mental illness, I'm working for a better future for those that will have mental health issues in their life. I feel society needs to have a better understanding of mental health, and for it to be just as accepted as physical health. Work I'm doing to change this includes becoming a youth mental health first aid instructor. This course raises awareness of mental health of young people and how to help somebody who may be in crisis like I was. This course will benefit teachers, parents, or anybody who works or has contact with young people. I'm also doing a campaign looking at child and adolescent mental health services, CAMS, tackling the issues of how the services are accessed. For this, I'm doing a survey for anybody under 25, where I have over 700 responses so far, where they can share their views on the services. With being passionate about mental health, I want to eliminate stigma. Through campaigning with Time to Change, I'm helping to shape a future that's stigma-free. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask?
Hi, so I'm just saying, by day I work with hello, there we go. By day I work for HeadStart Blackpool, but in the afternoons I volunteer for Blackpool Youth Voice, and it's one of the youth councils. I was just saying about I've listened to you then about can't speak. I've listened to you then about campaigning, about like mental health, and one of the things this year on the Making My Ballot Fund for the UK Youth Parliament is making the invisible visible. So it's all about mental health and people not being able to sort of see the difficulties that some people go through. And I feel that maybe sort of speaking to Youth Council and maybe trying to campaign that and helping them as someone who's been through it and lived through it would be really beneficial for not only UK Youth Parliament but for yourself as well.
Thanks for the suggestion. Previously I've actually run for UK Youth Parliament, and I'm involved with I go to what's called the Barnet Youth Board in my area, which works alongside the UK Youth Parliament. So I do help regarding the Make Your Mark ballot, which basically gathers young people's views and to make the campaign for the following year.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else? Questions, comments? At the front.
Well, first of all, thank you for sharing your story. It was very, very powerful. And I had to hold myself, quite emotional as well. The question is about CAMS services. What is your view about CAMS services in Wolverhampton? I'm not sure whether you call Wolverhampton, but the rumour has it that the CAMS services in Wolverhampton are pretty difficult to access. What is your view about that?
I'm from London myself, so I can't speak for Wolverhampton specifically. But regarding the campaign I'm doing, I'm aware that there's a lot of issues regarding accessing CAMs, including long waiting lists, but the campaign itself is looking at how young people can get referred to CAMs, because at the minute many young people feel there are issues regarding how they can be accessed if they want confidentiality from their parents finding out, especially due to the fact that CAM services clash with school hours. So most of my campaign is based around young people being able to access CAMs independently. But I agree that there are a lot of other issues within CAMs at the moment.
Any others? CAMs, questions, comments? Okay. So the next bit, if it works, has anyone, our campaign at the moment is called In Your Corner. Has anyone heard of that yet? It's, yeah, a few people. It's been launched properly in November, but a few of you may have already seen it. The videos are on our website, but I just thought I'd show them if that's coming.
One in 10 young people will experience a mental health problem this year. So if your mate is acting different, listen, don't judge. Babe, I want you to know that this phone is a safe place. You can say anything here. One in 10 young people will experience a mental health problem this year. So if your mate is acting differently, just reach out. Alright, big dog? I'm here for you, big dog. I'm here for you. One in 10 young people will experience a mental health problem this year. If a mate's acting differently, be by their side. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. One in 10 young people will experience a mental health problem this year. If your mate is acting differently, small things can make a big difference. Made you some pancakes. There's a little heart in there. One in 10 young people will experience a mental health problem this year. If your mate is acting differently, do something together. My mate Guy Chapman really likes board games. I really love board games.
Those are our In Your Mate's Corner videos, and as you saw, there were 5 of them, and they are focused on young people. So we thought that if you find them useful, you could maybe play some of those to the young people that you work with. There's also an adult version, just one video, and it's a guy in a boxing club, and his mates go in. The big thing about the In Your Corner campaign is it is targeting males. We have different kind of target audiences for each campaign. And just finally, these are the kind of things you can do to get involved. There's the website. You can pledge, so pledge to join Time for Change. There's also the Employers Pledge and our pledge wall. If you do any kind of activities with your young people and you yourselves, you can share your activity online as well and run any events we want to know about all of those. And the main one is just to talk about it, start a conversation about mental health. It is actually World Mental Health Day next Tuesday, the 10th of October. I'm sure there'll be hashtags on Twitter, things like that. So we want to know kind of what you're doing and start the conversation and get people talking. Thank you very much. I'm sure you all want lunch, but are there any questions? I'm happy to answer or come and find me later. Questions? There's one over here. Sorry to point.
Hi, thank you for the presentation today. So it's given me a better understanding, as I've recently looked on your website many times. And my concern is children and young people. At the moment, I'd say about 25% have maybe a mental health issue. But some of them have. I'm just wondering about people who don't have access to sites such as subtitles and so on. So, so some people's voices aren't going to be heard, so they can't express themselves appropriately as their first language isn't accessible. So I'm just wondering about people out there who wouldn't be able to hear what's going on, wouldn't be able to put their opinion across. So they might need some advice from the parents or family members, but they're not able to access the information due to there not being any sign language accessibility on there or subtitles. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you for that. I think that's really important. Those in your corner videos, I think you can put subtitles on them. And in terms of anyone else getting access, I'm not entirely sure, but I can find out for you. Sam, do you have any more info on that at all? No?
Not that I know.
No, but the in your corner videos, you can put subtitles on them. So, sorry, that's totally my fault, I didn't think about that. But thank you for raising it, it's important. Pardon? Yeah, you can put the subtitles. But apparently it's in Dutch at the moment. Yeah, I'm sure you can change the language, but if it's in Dutch, cool. Any other comments, questions? I'm sure you all can bring up. Okay, thank you.
A big thank you for Sam.